I've been tracking my brainwaves while listening to binaural beats, isochronic tones, and even staring at flashing lights, because I want to know if these so-called brainwave entrainment technologies actually do anything to my brain. But here's the thing though, I am not a neuroscientist, so even if I do record my brainwaves, how would I know what I'm looking at? Well, it is exactly to solve that problem why I first spent some time recording myself during a wide range of normal daily activities, which was the focus of my previous video. So if you are into this kind of stuff, definitely check that out first. But today I'm focusing exclusively on brainwave entrainment tracks to see if they deviate in any meaningful way from those baseline recordings. So I started my experiment by listening to regular isochronic tones and binaural beats. But the thing is, I found nothing unusual there. So what? Is brainwave entrainment just hype? Maybe my gear is not sensitive enough. Or maybe I simply don't know what I'm looking at. But then I remembered something. I read that everyone seems to have their own brainwave resonance points. That is, certain frequencies that they respond better to. And maybe I am simply not targeting those frequencies. So I created something that I call dynamic tracks that target multiple frequencies instead of just staying locked into one. And that's when things got interesting, because in several of these tracks, not all but many, I found unmistakable signs of brainwave entrainment. The most striking pattern showed up in my right back brain quadrant, where the gamma frequency started plotting sine waves. I'd never seen this before. For comparison, typical gamma activity looks chaotic and unpredictable. Nothing like these smooth patterns. And looking closer, beta waves in that same region were doing the same thing. And here's the kicker, their phases were aligned. This reminded me of something. If you have read my article called Introduction to Mathematical Spirituality, you know that there is a special breathing technique that turns your lung volume, your heart rate variability, and your blood pressure into aligned and coherent sine wave patterns as well. And now we're seeing exactly that same phenomenon happening between gamma and beta. If I had to guess, a phenomenon like this would be called something like brainwave coherence. And Googling that term, I found a similar pattern documented in transcendental meditation studies. Pretty cool connection if you ask me. Now, this coherence pattern was not the only thing that I found. I have a total of 5 specific sessions that have showed signs of entrainment. Let's take a look. Track number 1 is dynamic theta isochronic tones. This one is pretty simple to explain. It showed brainwave coherence in the right back brain quadrant, but no clear signs of entrainment beyond that. Track number 2 is dynamic beta and gamma isochronic tones. In this track, beyond the coherence pattern, beta and gamma had high dominance levels in the front of my brain. And if we look at the right front quadrant specifically, we see that their energy levels keep rising over time. This is something unusual when you're just sitting still, not thinking hard about anything. Also, in the right hemisphere, there is a shift in the center of gravity of gamma that goes from the back to the front part of the brain. From what I've seen in other sessions, brain waves naturally have higher energy levels in the back sensors. So observing a shift in the center of gravity towards the front is a relevant change, and I think it's a result of entrainment. Track number 3 is a dynamic audiovisual theta track. Here I added synchronized flashing lights to the isochronic tones. Again, brainwave coherence appeared in the right back quadrant. Beta and gamma started low, but steadily increased in dominance and energy levels, in the front regions throughout the session. And in my front left quadrant, delta frequencies spiked dramatically at the beginning and end. And this behavior is something I'd never recorded before. Track number 4 is another dynamic theta audiovisual track, but here I stopped using isochronic tones and switched to sharp clicks instead, synced with flashing lights. We still got coherence in the back right quadrant as usual. In the right front quadrant, gamma had the lowest level of dominance among all brainwaves, but its energy levels increased over time, while others remained stable, and I attribute this to the entrainment track. Our final track is a dynamic beta audiovisual track. Once again, I used sharp clicks and lights. The results were a little bit dramatic because on top of brainwave coherence in the right back quadrant, there were also massive increases in beta and gamma energy and dominance across my frontal regions, plus those gravity shifts I'd seen before, going from the back to the front of the brain. Okay, these were the 5 sessions I wanted to show you. Now, here are the lessons I learned from them. Lesson 1. Binaural beats, both regular and dynamic, showed no entrainment signs in my tests. Lesson 2. Many tracks, including dynamic versions, also produced nothing. Lesson 3. When entrainment did occur, it always showed up in beta and gamma frequencies, regardless of what frequency the track was targeting. And Lesson 4. There's a hierarchy of effectiveness. Dynamic tracks beat static ones. Isochronic tones beat binaural beats. Audiovisual tracks beat audio only. And beta-gamma targeted tracks beat theta-targeted ones. Are these lessons to be taken as law? No, this video was simply the empirical journey of a single individual. There are many questions left to answer, and there's room for a lot more experimentation. That will be the next step. But for now, the most important thing is that brainwave entrainment was found. Okay, that's all for this video. If you have any insights, make sure you leave a comment. I'd love to read them. See you next time.